All right. Try. Bring us in.
We're not plugged in. Oh, ruined it.
That's kind of fitting, actually.
Yeah.
We forgot to plug it in.
What does this button do? You know what that does?
No.
We got new buttons.
Oh, it turned it on.
Hey.
All right. Well, now we're on.
There we go.
We're
Now
still
we're on.
learning. This is still Gabby's Playhouse.
Pod Mama didn't tell us that she put in a new cool button on the wall.
Yeah, we're still figuring out how to use.
Studio just keeps getting better.
We're still figuring out how to use this thing. It's like a new car.
Yeah.
Where you're like 3 months into it, and you use the windshield wipers, and you're like, wait, they do that too? My uncle, his car cracks me up. His seats have massagers in them, and my mom was driving his car back to our house for like Thanksgiving or something, and she accidentally she was like looking for the windshield wipers. She's like, Steven, I can get the massagers working, but I can't get the rain off the windshield. That's basically what the studio's turned into.
Exactly. We'll take it.
Well, we're without Sav again for our final Fan Q episode of the year. She's on the injury list.
Yeah,
She's
on
IR. She texted
IR.
us about half an hour before we were supposed to go on. Has a migraine, so
Surprised
she's
it's
all
not
good.
me.
Yeah, no kidding.
My neck's been jacked.
Yeah, and then you just had a quick jaunt to Vegas.
Yeah, I did.
Had to suffer through the Vikings. Good heavens.
That was the most painful win I've ever experienced.
Even in Vegas, that had to be.
Luckily, I didn't buy tickets. I got tickets to the Lakers game the night before, so I was like, I can't. I'm not buying the two of those. And so we just went to the sports book, and thank God, because I was not trying to watch that whole game and know that I paid a lot of money to go.
What sportsbook did you go to?
It was off the Strip,
Okay.
so it was like Green Gate. I don't know. Forget.
So it wasn't the Mirage, is what you're saying. The Mirage is
No, yeah, we went
unbelievable.
the night before. We were on the Strip, so for the game we were closer to my brother's house.
Gotcha. How was the Lakers game? The in-season
Really
cup.
sick, actually.
It was sweet.
Well, first of all, T-Mobile Arena is smaller, and I've only watched games in like crypto,
Okay.
so it's smaller and it's built like upwards and it doesn't go out as much.
Okay.
So like nosebleeds are pretty decent actually. Nosebleeds at crypto, like I'm not.
Yeah.
It's not worth it because you're just watching on the TV anyway. But we skipped the first quarter, hung out in the casino until the second quarter,
Sweet.
and then went in and bought tickets. Got like $1,000 ticket. It was $1,000 before the game for $300.
Oh, there you go.
Watched the whole second half,
Perfect.
which is all I want to sit in the stands for anyway.
Right.
And it was like, I don't know, we're like 25 rows up, like right there, center court. LBJ and Davis were just smashing. It was cool.
No kidding.
It's cool to be the inaugural in-season tournament. Who knows what it turns into, but like, it's a little history. You could tell they cared too.
Crowd
like
was decent?
They were playing playoff like energy.
Yeah.
Crowd was good. I mean, yeah, it was pretty packed.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see when sports just kind of experiment
I
with
mean,
stuff like that.
Isn't it amazing that the NBA is such a amazing business that they can just do that?
You just invented a tournament.
Let's make our players play harder in the beginning of
We all
season.
know it stands for not before April. Just get them to care in December.
Exactly. And it worked.
It worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to try to keep this too long because you're leaving for Hawaii tomorrow. So we're going to try to cap this one at about an hour. And I can't even. I can't think you could guess where the brunt of the questions from our
I don't
friends
know
will
this
be.
time. Usually I can guess.
Yeah, it's been a pretty boring off-season here in beach volleyball.
Right.
So most of our questions from the listeners, thank you as always to everyone
Yeah, I
for
appreciate it.
submitting questions. We're routinely in the hundreds of questions asked, which is super fun. Many of them about a very similar topic. I'll just run through a couple. Carlos Jimenez, what is going on with the AVP Tour next season? Adam Breinholt, additional info on new AVP format, new partnerships. Pre-Lima, what do you guys think will be the positives and negatives of the AVP format? So can you just give everyone a quick primer on what's up with the AVP, what the player, because at this point I think what the players know and what the fans know is the same.
Yeah, so it seems like the new ownership didn't come in real hot and just like announce everything and like let everyone know who they are and what they're up to and blah blah They kind of came in quiet, respectfully before they announced what they announced to you guys. They had meetings with the players and let us ask some questions. But for the most part, all we got out of these meetings was what they announced. With a few more questions here and there. The only thing I can say that is like it's promising, I guess, is that I'm hearing from people that I trust who are more on the inside that they're happy about this group of people that came in and they believe that they know what they're doing, which hasn't always been the case, right? We don't know, like, what's this person's background when they come in? What's Bally's intentions when they came in? And Bally's is still on board, I believe, as a minority owner, which can't be a bad thing, I'm assuming. But, these new people, I'm not assuming, but I kind of get the idea that they have new connections and they're coming in. Have some experience in this world. I don't know exactly what, but it sounds promising. If you're me, who's been around long enough and heard and got excited and then not, yeah. I believe it when I see it kind of guy. I respect what they're doing. I am excited, but I'm not banking on it. I'm like, well, we're moving ahead with our podcast. We're going to do us. And if the tour works out and if we can work with them and grow together, then amazing. Obviously, it's the best platform for us Americans to play on. Like, it's our pride and joy is competing on the AVP. But I'm not getting my hopes up. And that's not anything against the new ownership. I don't know enough. Yeah, I've been through it enough. And, I'm going to do my thing. And then if it works out, then we go.
Yeah. So at the moment, what the format looks like is a reduced number of traditional looking tournaments that they have renamed into the Heritage Series.
Yeah, instead of the Gold Series, which Gold Series was one thing
Gold
that
Series
kind
had
of
a decent ring to it.
Heritage, I guess it's more like these are like the legendary events. Like I would say Chicago and Manhattan fit the mold, right? Like those are our heritage events.
Yeah.
And then they're basically trying to make Huntington and
Miami?
Miami, yeah. I think it's Miami.
Yeah. Huntington's
the other two heritage events, which would be sweet. Like 2 Cali events, definitely got to have that at least. Yeah. And then, the league part.
Yeah, and then there's the league. And as far as the name change, like it reminded me, my first reaction to it was Happy Gilmore. Like gold jacket, green jacket, like Gold Series, Heritage Series.
Right, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
It's just a name. So a reduced number of traditional tournaments. We don't know what that's going to look like. Is there a qualifier? What's the size of the draw? What does the prize money look like? We don't know.
Yeah, it sounded like it would be like 4 Gold Series, which is, if you're going to have 4 events, we hope that they're at least the Gold Series size in terms of prize money.
And for the top players, that's a good thing because you guys have to miss so many tournaments playing Olympic qualifiers anyway. And so when you come home, you want it to be a bigger event. So for the top players,
for sure.
It's a better thing of a reduced number of events and making them bigger if you don't have to miss them.
Yeah, well, so we did ask that question because we're like 4 events. Like, what if we have to miss 2? Then we don't qualify for the whole league series. Right. And they said because of that, they're gonna let us. It's gonna be your best 3 out of the 4.
Best 3 of 4.
So that like in case the top team has to miss one.
But points are accumulated as a team.
Yes.
Okay. Which I like.
I believe. Maybe not.
Yeah.
What I like about you're gonna play in these 4 events, and whoever the top 8 teams are at the end of this event gets to play in this league series next, which we'll explain. But why I like that is that there's a build up after each event. As fans, as players, we're all looking. Where's the leaderboard? If the Heritage Series ended today, where would the draft picks end up, right? Because there's a draft pick for this league, and if you're the 1 seed, you're going to get the 8 seed girls team, right? I think that's how it works.
That I don't know. I don't know much about how the league works. I just know that there's, and I think,
the first pick.
Okay.
If you have the first pick on the men's side, you have the 8th pick on the women's side, I believe. It's like that.
Okay.
So I don't know. It's just something to follow. They're sliding up, they're sliding down. Which, if you like a team and you want them to win the league series, you almost want them to slide down in the heritage rankings to get a higher draft pick. Because like if a decent men's team gets one of the top 3 women, they're gonna win.
Yeah.
Like this year, like if I'm probably the 4 seed right now, right? Be pretty good versus me winning the Heritage Series and getting 8, which is like a lot harder.
Yeah.
You got to explain the League Series for that to make sense.
I actually I don't know much about it, the League Series, and how exactly it's going to work. I don't know because AVP's not selling off franchises, or at least not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
There's 8 cities: Palm Beach,
Miami, Austin, Dallas,
Los Angeles, Austin, Dallas, San Diego, Brooklyn, New York, I think.
Yeah,
is that right? Does Miami have?
I think Manhattan, New York, and Brooklyn or Bronx.
I think Brooklyn.
Okay, I don't know. It's all the same to me.
So the 8 teams. I don't know how the draft is going to work because they're not selling off franchises as of yet.
Yeah, like I think it sounded like they don't know. Like, do they have time to get 8 owners in these cities and blah blah blah? You know, like the first year, maybe they're trying to figure it out. Maybe they'll have to just assign you to these cities or have a draft, and then, you know, in future years they have a proof of product now that they can sell to ownership groups or whatever you want.
And I think it's sort of a shoot first, aim later type deal.
Maybe, which could work if these guys know what they're doing.
Yeah, which I like. That's pretty much how I've run my life. So I kind of admire,
totally.
Like podcast, sure. We'll figure it out as we aim as we go. But I think a lot of the details, they're being vague about it because I'm not sure if they entirely know exactly all the finer details. So I think, and I'd much rather have them figure stuff out and then tell us what's going to happen than tell us what's going to happen and then retract and amend and do all this crap.
I'm pretty sure they understand that if you announce it to the players, it's going to be out to the public. Like, it's a very small community.
Yeah. Which, I mean, they figured that out earlier than every other professional organization that's come in and tried to take it over.
You didn't have a meeting, right? You heard a lot.
Yeah, well, actually, I had a call.
Oh, no, you ended up having one. That's right.
And I really respected Bobby, who listens to us while mowing his lawn or shoveling his snow. So, Bobby,
appreciate you.
Glad to have him. I really appreciated his openness.
Yeah.
And his candor, and just his willingness to just have a really good introductory conversation. Like, hey, this is our plan. This is what we might think will work. This is what we might fail. Maybe everything will fail, and we'll adjust from there.
Right.
And it was the first open and candid call I've ever had with anyone from the AVP.
It's so true. It feels good.
Bally's was just like this sort of mysterious force. It was like the Wizard of Oz. It was somehow behind the curtain. We had no idea who they were. Before that, like Donald was always present, but I never had.
None of them wanted to come on the pod or anything.
And so I like Bobby. I like the new guy. I don't know if it's gonna work. And I've been through the ups and downs a bit too many times for me to be like tapping into the hopium.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the answer.
Yeah.
So Lee Feinswag, the editor of Volleyball Mag, he has this saying, you know, what's good for volleyball is good for Lee.
Right.
And I hope it goes well. I hope it goes great because what's good for volleyball is good for all of us involved.
100%.
Am I going to hitch the wagons to it? No.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait and see and hope and root for him.
Exactly.
And we'll see.
We'll keep doing our part and then see what happens.
Yeah.
But we're not getting BS vibes, which is nice.
Yeah. That's refreshing.
Yeah.
And then so for the prelim, what do you think will be the positives of the AVP format? Is that it's something different and new. Because Riley, we had the Friday night episode.
We got to figure out if we can release that one.
We don't even know if we're going to air. We're going to see what we can salvage.
Let's just say it was one of a kind night. It was eventful.
It was eventful. But Riley said, you know, if you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always got.
Yeah.
And I love that. And
That's true.
Now, what the AVP is doing and has been doing since 2012 has been losing money to the tunes of tens of millions of dollars. And so if you come in and you keep doing exactly what's always been done, you're going to keep losing the tens of millions of dollars. And a lot of people think, well, we just need, you know, Shohei Ohtani, $700 million contract. He could just take over the AVP. But people get rich
because they don't like losing money.
Because they don't like losing money. And they're not going to keep pouring money into a losing endeavor if there's no hope of a return. And the way that
winners like winning.
Yeah, they do.
And they win. That's how they got rich.
Right. That's Warren Buffett's first rule. Is the first rule of making money is you don't lose money.
There you go.
And so if you get one rich guy and he's losing $10 million a year for 3 years, he's probably going to bail.
Yeah.
And we've seen that a couple times. And so it's a different model and a different attempt, and maybe it'll fail because if you look at sports and the history of sports businesses, it is just a litany of failure after failure after failure, and what's left after those thousands of failures are the monsters that have made it.
Yeah.
And only a handful have made it.
Yeah.
I mean, you look, even today, like the WNBA is getting decent TV viewership, still losing money.
With a massive backing of
The massive backing.
the building or the business of
Right.
the
And
NBA,
so-
right?
And they're, but relatively speaking, to the thousands of other monstrous failures in sports, a huge success. Like
Right.
the XFL just lost $63 million.
Yeah,
And so
I never thought that was going to
Right,
work.
so they had to merge with USFL.
I love football,
don't
and I
think
have
it's a
no
good
interest.
idea. I don't think spring football has been one failure after another.
Right.
But you just look at, it's only the monsters that are left.
Yeah.
And so maybe it'll fail, but it'll just be joined in the thousands of other failures. And at least someone tried something different. So I admire the creativity.
Yeah.
And then branching out and trying something new. And we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So.
I think the format too, I think it'll be more exciting. Like for you guys, the fan base, it'll be more exciting because just those first 4 events are leading up, like you're winning something or you're getting somewhere, you know, you're like, we want to know where it's going to play out at the end of these 4 events. And then you get into the league series, like now someone gets to win the league series, you know? So it's like, we're building up to something. Each time they play, it means something towards something else versus before it's like each tournament's its own thing. At the end, that's it. Boom.
Yeah.
Who wins? No one wins. Just it's over.
Yeah.
So we're getting a bit of that. Like you can be the AVP champion, I believe, if you win the league series.
Yeah. And there's a couple things that I think will probably inevitably be changed because I don't think one men's team, one women's team, I don't think that's going to be enough to really
Also, they're on the
draw
same
some
team.
eyes. And that's going to be something like if you get a men's team who goes out and
the
parties
best
till 4 in the
team.
morning and then they lose and their women's team goes to bed at 9 watching film.
You better have a
You're gonna
vlogger over there filming their next interaction.
Like what goes on there?
Yeah, that's true.
And then I would this year's an exception because there's Olympic qualifying in the spring. But I think that to try to compete in sports in the same window as NFL, MLB playoffs, NBA, indoor volleyball, and now we're trying to be, and I don't know where the television distribution is, but people's sports attention spans are drawn elsewhere in the fall. It's the busiest, most epic time of year to watch TV, and I think that I'm hoping that they shoot for a spring or early summer season for the league format, because then you're competing with nothing. Spring and early summer is vacant.
Well, it's got to be a post-Olympics.
Yeah.
Plus, like Manhattan, Chicago are set. It's not like these events they can just pick, you know?
I mean the league.
Oh, the league series after
Yeah,
that.
the league series.
Gotcha.
Like if you shuffle that to be in the spring and early summer where there's little to nothing to compete against as far as sports viewership.
Oh.
But competing against the NFL is just impossible.
Yeah. So we don't have too much information, but hopefully that paints a little bit of a picture of our perspective at the moment.
Yeah. So sorry if we can't get into as much detail as you'd want with the new AVP stuff, but it's what we got, and this winter and spring should be pretty interesting as the rollout happens.
Hey, it looks like we got a tour, which you always got to be grateful for.
Right. There will be something to play.
Yes.
So we're going to switch. We're going to go to kind of the Olympic international side of things. Epic Joy Volleyball. Love Epic Joy. Paris 2024 predictions. And I'm assuming that means who are going to be your medalists for the men and who are going to be your medalists for the women. Who would you say? Well, we'll go with your... you want to do your men's podium or your women's podium first?
Let's go with men's.
Who's your men's podium?
I feel like Sweden will be on there. They just... it's like that next thing they need to tick off.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want to say Norway. It's too boring. That top tier, like the teams that were at the World Tour final, like anyone could crack that. You know, like Ehlers, Vikler, Wozniak easily could be on there.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like Wozniak might sneak in it because He's played at a high level for a very long time. He's won enough tournaments to win one of those. So I see him on there as well. I guess it would be like a Norway, Sweden, and Poland kind of thing.
Yeah. No Czech boys?
Czech, I'm not giving it to them because they won world champs. Because now,
Is that the curse?
It's just like, there's more pressure on it.
Yeah.
And also, like, they're already world champions. I know in their minds they're going to go for it all in, but I don't know if the energy will be behind them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm making things up, but
I'd go Sweden gold. I predicted them to win world champs and miss by a 15-13 third setter. So I'm doubling down on Sweden to win gold. I just want to see a Sweden-Norway final.
Yeah.
Because every time that they had 3 finals this year and all of them were pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And then I got to give it to the Czechs. And it's funny because no one gives the Czechs love. So before World Champs, I put up a poll on Instagram and said, who do you predict will win? And the Czechs had 3%.
They came to my mind. Oh, 3%?
3% of people voted for
They
them.
definitely came to mind. I was just like, oh, there's that, like, they already got the world champs. Yeah. So I was like, I'm not putting them.
And I just put up a poll on our YouTube channel, and I said, now that the 2023 season's over, who would you least want to face this season? Sweden was like 56%. Norway was something like 40-ish%. And these poor Czech guys get no love. Like 4 or 5% again. Like, damn.
Hey, keep a chip on your shoulders, guys.
Yeah.
Stay the underdog. Hey, honestly, that can work in your favor. Stay in the underdog.
Yeah. So there's our men's podiums. Women?
Ooh. Is it time we get 2 U.S. teams on the podium?
It'd be pretty sick.
2 U.S. and a Brazil?
London.
Yeah.
We had an All-American final beat. Epic.
That'd be insane.
The tough part with the Olympics is you might get the gold medal match in the quarterfinals. That's what happened in 2016 with Phil and Nick and Bruno and Alison. So a lot of it's just the luck of the draw.
Seeding, yeah.
And so I'm really hoping that the bracket works out in a way. Actually, I hope the bracket works out exactly like this World Champs did, where it worked out perfectly, where Anna Patricia and Duda were on one side, Kelly and Sarah were on the other side, Kristen and Taryn were on one side, and then the Aussies were in there as well.
Right, Aussies,
but I think, and the Aussies had to beat Mel and Brandy to get in there. That was the 4-5.
Yeah.
So the World Champs bracket worked out perfect.
Who else?
And you got, I think, Dark Horse, Marta Menegatti and Valentina Gottardi.
Whoa.
Yeah. So Gottardi,
she's getting better.
She swept the end of season awards. She got rookie, most improved, best server, nominated for best offensive player.
Whoa. See, I didn't watch enough to know that.
Dude,
I was like,
she gets this she cranks that as a funny little float.
That arms thing up there, yeah.
Dude, it's like she's cocking back the 300 Win Mag, just rifle, dude. And she has the biggest, Anna Patricia's got the biggest arm.
Yeah.
But Valentina's got this whip. It's like a DeFalco type swing.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Wild.
That'd be my dark horse. And the Aussies, you can never count out the Aussies.
Yeah.
They play when it matters.
I want to get Mel and Brandy on the podium.
Yeah.
Let's give them a medal.
Yeah. Yes, I'm going 2 American. I think AP Duda.
They're
it's time
due.
for them to win, especially because they lost last year's World Tour Finals. They didn't win this year's World Tour Finals. They lost in the finals of World Champs. You can only keep them out the
and they didn't podium last Olympics.
Yeah.
And they were hot, right? Going in pretty hot.
It was Duda and Agatha.
Oh, sorry, Duda Agatha.
And Duda and Agatha won more medals than than April and Alex and Pavan and Mel combined in the Tokyo Quad.
Exactly.
But they've just had a strange habit. Yeah, of not playing well in the Olympics.
Huh.
So we'll see. But I think Duda AP win gold. Kristen Taryn win silver. Kelly Sarah win bronze.
I'm happy with that.
Kind of a little bit of a reversal of the podium, reordering of the podium.
Because they got world champs, you got to give them. Okay.
Yeah.
But then again, they both cashed in on World Tour Finals, so it's a wash.
Yeah.
Also, they could buy us dinner or something. It's the least they can do. Jeez.
I was talking with Kristen Taryn after, and Kristen was like, "Man, it still doesn't feel real. It hasn't set in." It's like, bet it sets in with that $150,000 check.
Give it about 2 weeks. Also, Plan for taxes.
Make an S corp, ladies.
Oh, I want that. I want that so bad.
So there's our Paris 2024
My measly
predictions.
bronze medal I got back in the day.
Actually, Joe Meserve brings up an interesting question. When will the Russians be allowed to compete on the World Tour again?
Good point.
And I don't know because yesterday, and yesterday in this context, we're recording this on the 11th, so December 10th, Russians are allowed to compete in the Olympics under a neutral flag.
Okay.
So I don't know if they'll be allowed to compete on the World Tour. There are technically enough events for them to get the requisite 12. I don't think that they could. I don't think they'd get in the points, but
you don't think?
It could shake things up.
If they got the events in, you don't think they would? Krasilnikov?
They got to make a lot of points happen. And they're going to come in with not a lot of entry points. I don't know what Volleyball World would do with the entry points if they're just like, sorry.
But if they stayed in the elite, let's just say they stay in the Elite 16, which you have to get fifths. You can get a ninth, but you have to.
Yeah, they just have no room for a bad tournament.
Right.
Like if you have two bad tournaments,
kind of like doing what Adrian's doing. You know, like he's just been staying in the Elite 16, which I don't know if he's still in it now, but
I think he's still hanging.
I mean, he's going to qualify just by hanging in there.
Yeah.
They could do that.
They could.
And they could easily go win one, too, because they got a little
Easily,
chip on their shoulder.
They're so good.
Their arms are fresh. It looks like they've been training, too, just on Instagram and stuff. Like, they got stuff to play in.
Playing snow volleyball.
Yeah, he's been playing anything, probably.
Yeah, and if anything, that would be a hell of a wrinkle to throw in. It's like, instead of getting...
Make the race a little harder?
Instead of getting... I mean, I can't think of a team. Say, Seidel Pristals. Mm-hmm. You get Krasilnikov Stoyanovsky.
Oh, yeah.
That's a whole different ballgame.
For sure, yeah. Exactly.
So they could be causing trouble just by being in the tournaments and beating teams. We're like, damn, this road got a lot harder.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So we don't know, Joe, but could see it sooner rather than later. Let's see. Hove Man. You get asked this question all the time. Are Cayman Tri sticking together for the 2024 season and still making an Olympic run?
Yes. If you look at the points, like it's...
Yeah, I don't think people
silly
have really done the math to know that you guys, if you like win a bronze at an Elite 16, you would then jump both teams.
If we won one bronze?
Yeah. And
we're that close?
If they take like a 13th and don't improve their points, and because you guys are dumping some terrible finishes. So we're chasing Miles. They're bottom.
I didn't know if it was one bronze would do it.
Yeah. I mean, a bronze is a lot.
I'll just get a gold.
Yeah. And you would jump like 600 points.
Huh, sweet. Well, there you go.
There's just one good event.
No, yeah. I mean, if we were out of the race, then, we'd have to look at it, whether it's a, partner change or whatever needs to be done to play better. But I'm actually already really excited just about where our heads are at, like what we've debriefed and like how much we've seen, like by finally stepping back and like, whoa, like we were all over the place for reasons that are because of us, not because of us, in our control, out of our control, and just like, whoa, like we get to reset, but with all that knowledge. And also like going to people we trust and have a lot of veteran advisors that are giving us some good knowledge. So I'm just excited to like go improve on what we've done.
Yeah.
I set the bar really high and came up below it, and now I'm kind of setting the bar nowhere. Just
see what happens.
The bar's in my hand, and however high I jump and put that thing is where it's gonna go.
I like it. So they're sticking together.
Yeah.
This is an interesting question. I like this one. Toby Node, what is the one thing all podium teams share besides the medals? And I talked about this a little on our R-rated SANDCAST After Dark podcast with Hav and Dodd. But the more I watch the Elite 16s and the World Tour Finals or Beach Pro Tour Finals and the World Champs, the more I notice all the top teams are the best defensive teams in the world.
Transition?
And they...
Because to be the best defensive, right?
Yeah. You look like Kristen and Taryn played some of the worst volleyball I've seen them play ever. AVP, international, whatever, in the Beach Pro Tour Finals. And they made up for it because they're so hard to score on. And Kristen was hitting cut shots like this far out, and Taryn was bombing balls out of bounds. And they, of course, because they're Kristen and Taryn, they were laughing. Where Taryn was like, "Yeah, after our 20th error, I turned around and was like, somehow we're still in this match."
Right.
And you can bail yourself out so much. And Sweden, if Helvig's having a rare off day, well, you have the craziest defender in the world behind him.
Yeah.
Anders and Christian, nothing more needs to be said.
Right.
Nikolai Kodafava, Wojciech Brill. On the women's side, you got Mel Brandy, Duda and Anna Patricia, Chang Hughes, the Australians.
All the best
Guittardi.
defenses.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the best side-out teams.
Yeah. And
it says a lot about Cam and I this year because we were all over the place. Like, even dialoguing about it now, we just weren't on the same page. And I literally I'm like, why? I just don't feel confident in my calls this year.
Right.
Because I just haven't figured out Cam being behind me, and he hasn't figured me out. And now it put all that pressure on our side out, and it's just like, you're right. Like, if we're just comfortable and in sync on defense and just taking what we mean to be taking kind of thing, then we can relax siding out and, take chances.
Yeah, because I look at you guys, and you're a good side-out team. I thought you were a below-average defensive team, given
for sure
the parts that you're bringing to the
we
table.
also didn't transition when we did get digs.
Right.
It was like, add all those together, and you just don't even. And we still were close in a lot.
And you were still. That's what gives me hope for you guys, is that I think that this year, talking with both you guys, went about as poorly as you could have expected it to.
Right.
If you were like, what's the worst a year could have looked like?
Right.
You'd say, probably this.
Yeah.
And you guys were still, like, you weren't even scratching the surface of how good you could be. And I think a lot of that's because your defense wasn't, it was just a little off.
Yeah.
Like, you were doing A, Kane was doing B, Kane was doing C, you were doing D.
I think Cam was like, because he came on to my team, it was more like, like my coach and my trainer, and he was like, okay, I'm doing whatever you guys want. But like, we kind of brought him in to be more of like, bring his stuff in. And it's almost like he's being polite and like, it's probably not the right word, but like, it's like,
passive.
no. Yeah, passive, exactly.
Yeah.
And now we're like, oh, okay, like, we're figuring it out.
Yeah. So
But
I think
anyway.
if you guys can find your defensive identity.
Which my blocking is like my thing usually. Obviously, I'm undersized, but like, it should come back. Like, I hope it can. Like,
And I thought you had a lot of matches where you blocked well. And you actually talked about this on the SANDCAST After Dark, is that you get that kind of white mamba mode when you're down, and you get that sense of urgency. And you're just trying to find how to unlock that sense of urgency from the start.
Yeah, in an efficient way.
Right. We're not
and
just
not too risky.
Right.
Right, because like sometimes you're like beast mode,
right.
but it might like it might work and it might not. Like it's a coin flip.
Leroy
You can't be doing
Jenkins.
that all the time. And then the cardio behind, even the way you got to train to block full time at 35. I'm going to be 35 years old versus when I was doing it. Last time I was full time blocking was 5 years with Trevor and 2 years off from sickness. I was in my early 20s. I was just like crazy, or mid 20s. I think 26, 27 is when I stopped playing with Hayden.
Man.
So like I didn't really train to have that cardio and like that efficiency. So anyway.
Isn't it so crazy that we started this podcast and you're in your like mid to late 20s? You're going to be 35 next year. That hit hard.
What was I, 28? 29?
20.
30? I know, when I just said that, I was like, what? I'm going to be, oh, Jesus.
We started this when you were playing with Hayden.
I remember when I heard about those 35-year-old guys, which back then was like, oh, he's done in a year or two. Like, any year now, he's done. But now Hayden pushed the bar so far that it's like, it doesn't even feel old.
And then you got Pablo Herrera still winning events out there. He's 41.
Insane.
I was looking at the other day, actually. He won his first event in 2004 when Miles Partain was 3. And they're playing against each other.
Wow.
And David Alman was 3 as well.
Holy crap.
Isn't that crazy?
David Alman's that young?
21. They're both 21. 21-year-olds combined to win 9 medals.
And they're not big.
No. They're smaller. I mean,
for a defender.
Miles is about my height. Alman's a little shorter.
But how old is Helvig?
Helvig's 22.
Okay, so.
It's the same.
And he's undersized.
Yeah. Well, by the time this comes out, Miles might turn 22.
But still,
Mid-December. But yeah,
that's wild.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'll take these next two.
I didn't turn 20. I didn't turn pro till I was 23, 24 on the beach.
Okay.
Crazy.
I made my first one when I was 28. Yeah. From Socialize, what's the deal with World Tour Finals? Does it count for Olympic points? No. It's a nothing. Not a nothing. It's a lot of prize money, and it's sort of
It's a money grab.
Yeah, it's a big money tournament, and then
It's like a prize for the end of the year. Like, here, now you get a bunch of cash.
Yeah, and that's his next question. Why so, or her, I don't know, Socialize. Why so few teams in the World Tour Finals? So they're trying to make it this sort of exclusive, very, very elite event, sort of like the PGA Tour's FedEx Cup playoffs. You earn your points throughout the year. The top 8 teams, or 9 teams, I guess, in points accumulated and finishes from the calendar year get automatic bids, and then there's a wild card for the hosts, which is why Qatar will pretty much always get that bid into World Tour Finals. And then I think Tina and Anastasia Samoilova were the wild card for the women, and they had the worst tournament ever. They lost to Anna Patricia Duda in 3, lost to Cindy Tillman, Svenja Mueller in 3, beat Kelly and Sarah, and lost to, I forget the last team in their pool in 3. You lose to 3 of the best teams in the world in 3, beat the world champs, and don't break pool.
Yep.
It's so tough.
Jeez.
So that's the deal with the World Tour or Beach Pro Tour Finals. Switch gears. Got about 25 minutes left. These are more kind of content-based questions. Bet the Beach had a lot of good questions for us. Thoughts on alternative broadcasts and their current popularity, such as the Manning cast?
I mean, I'm up to do it. I've thought about it, and I think broadcasting actually has evolved. If you listen to it, especially like basketball, they're really letting the guys as we say in Hawaii, talk story. And like these ex-coaches, like the Van Gundys and these guys, they're turning it into very conversational, and they're giving opinions and whatnot. And I think traditional broadcasting's easing into that. Not that I think there's like an art form evolving, where it's not so traditional. 3-pointer, that's good, that traditional stuff. But for us, I think we should do it. I'd love to do it.
It would be so fun if we. The big thing is the rights.
Yeah, well, whoever's broadcasting it would have to. Be on board or like doing it for us, right?
What I thought about doing when the AVP was behind a paywall, or if people didn't have a cable subscription to get ESPN, I thought about doing a live podcast, like a radio call of the finals. But
it's not.
I thought of it too late because it wasn't. Yeah, I wouldn't be filming it. I would either do set up the cam, so it's just me talking into the computer, or just have no camera and just straight up live podcast, have people come on the YouTube chat and just chat there, ask questions, whatever. And so I don't know where the AVP is going to be distributed next year, but I think if that does happen, I would give that a go.
We'll have a call in live from the sidelines.
Yeah, I think it'd be so fun.
Yeah. And then if you get busted, we'll be like, nah, we were just joking. We weren't actually there. We have no proof.
Right. Yeah, so it's fun. I love the Manning cast. I think it is so dang funny. I think that there is a space for both. What I love is that you can watch the Manning cast, but also you have the traditional broadcast available.
Yeah.
You have the option. If you want to joke around and goof off with the boys,
like I'm like 50-50 right now.
If you want Chris Collinsworth and whoever's with him and Troy Aikman, maybe you can go.
If it's my team playing, I want the real broadcast because I just want to focus on the game. But if it's just a Monday night game, I want Peyton. I want to learn something. I want to laugh. Yeah. And still watch the game.
Yeah. If I'm looking for a way to spice up Lions Bears, I'm going with the Mannings.
I wish I had the Mannings for Vikings Raiders this past weekend.
I can guarantee you they were stoked they weren't on that game.
If I didn't win money on that game, it would have ruined the rest of my day.
Yeah.
Having watched that. At one point, my head was on the table.
So bad. And then the next question from Bet the Beach was, could a wraparound style broadcast like the Red Zone work for beach tournaments? And I'm wondering.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah. So if you're running, it's a challenge, and they're running 6 courts. And whenever someone got into that 18-17, the 35-point switch, that's where it went to.
Mm-hmm.
But only if it were 18-17 or 19-16. I think that'd be kind of cool.
You could go to a double box too.
You could do the double box, because if you got you and Kamer against Pristow Seidel, it's 21-21, and then you got Anders and Christian, and they're in with Stefan Bormans and New York DeGroot, and it's like 19-16. You're like, all right, well, that's kind of close. Really good vote. Like, this is 21-21, double box.
But the announcer can kind of like fill you in on both, and like you're watching them both or whatever, but it works.
Yeah, and Volleyball World has a split screen option where you can watch like 4.
You're gonna miss some stuff though. Like NFL,
sure.
You miss stuff, and then they bring it right back.
Yeah,
and show you the highlights right after.
Yeah, I think it could work, and honestly, now that we're sort of partnering with Volleyball TV with the Road to Paris series, not that we could do it live, but just kind of what I want to do really bad is do like a kind of a highlight show, just sort of a recap. Or if you missed it, whatever, like. Here's all of your big bounce swings, big blocks. This is what happened. Here's your upset. There's that. Here's your one. And just give people a 5-minute rundown of their tournament if they missed it.
Yep.
It could work. I think that Volleyball TV makes me hopeful because they've done a lot of cool things and they're innovating pretty fast. Brody Schneider, more SANDCAST Tour questions. When are the boys coming to Montana?
Whenever.
Love Big
Whenever
Brody.
we can.
Yeah, actually, I hit up Libby today, and I was like, here's a good gap in the schedule where we could make it work. So maybe Montana 24 in the summer could be kind of a SANDCAST Tour.
I would love that. I hope it works out
there.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go to Montana.
So we're going to try to make it work, bro. Let's make it happen. The Sanchez family.
You better be there, Brody.
Emily Oswald. Great question. What will it take to get Drew Hamilton on the show? The most mysterious coach in all of beach volleyball. I always ask Kristen and Taryn.
Yeah, he hasn't been on, huh?
And she's like, it'll never happen. But Lee wants to have me in Louisiana in like February to do just a huge monster story on Kristen and Taryn. See if I can sneak Drew in. Or just have like a hidden mic.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Just throw a little mic on him when he's not looking.
That's it. I love Drew. Let's see. We can do a couple more. Off-season life and questions. This is relevant since we're all about to go into our off-season. I've been in mine since September. Epic Joy Volleyball. Can you provide some insight into AVP Stars off-season life? So what's an off-season look like for you?
Hawaii.
What is next 6 weeks in Hawaii look
like? So, I mean, when you're in your 20s, you just go cold turkey and do nothing kind of thing. And then as you get older, I mean, not everyone, but for me, I don't really stop working out at this point. I went straight to my trainers just 2 days a week. Other than that, I'm pretty much off. I'm trying to fix the body. I'm not trying to stop doing everything and then because your body's just used to moving, and I'm not trying to just stop and take a month off and then start back, ramp up from zero again. I don't think that's the best way to heal your body, and I'd rather just do a good job right away and heal my body and then rest a little more in the middle of that off-season block and then ramp up from there. And then the ramp up's easy because you're already in pretty good shape and whatnot. So I was just hitting it with my trainer. I just for my mind, even if I'm not playing sport, I'll do the sauna, ice bath kind of stuff here and there. And then, fixing injuries, still getting treatment. And then I'll go to Hawaii and just stay active, cross training. So me being in the water is big. I'll go surf a lot, stand up paddling. Trevor stand up paddles a lot. Maybe he'll surf more this year because his shoulder's feeling better. Golf. Me and Trev and Taylor's and a lot of players are golfing in the off season.
Yeah,
just be outside.
What they think is golfing. They're out there.
There's a few good golfers, and I'm not one of them. Travis is the best, I would say, right?
I think, yeah, I would bet.
Who's up there with you?
So you got sneaky guys like Tim Baumgren.
Well, he's sneaky, just
yeah.
all around sneaky.
Yeah, if you give him a
Sneaky
ball or
Tim.
a bat or a golf club, whatever, he'll be really good.
I could see him.
But I would
smashing.
I would bet on myself against him.
Yeah. Yeah. So collectively, we're up there in terms of best. Collectively, we're the best podcast golfers.
Easily.
Volleyball podcast golfers in the world. And my swing is very ugly. It's no Charles Barkley, but the T-spine rotation.
Make it work though. You can catch some flush contact.
Yeah, I'm actually decent. My mid game is good.
Yeah.
Like I'm very comfortable chipping up. But
drive for show, putt for dough, baby.
Driving,
it's all short game.
It's not amazing.
It's all 100 yards and in.
Putting, I'm a little hot and cold. But yeah, cross train, take care of the body. That's like me not working. Is like just cross train, take care of the body, still at the gym.
Yeah.
And then we'll ramp up. Start off with like getting the cardio back a bit, just touching the ball, real fundamental touches, and then Cameron's gonna come out to Hawaii, and we'll get more fundamental team touches, and then we'll start getting intricate. And like I said, we've already had a few team meetings now while everything's fresh. So we have that information and we know where to start from generally. We're trying to hire a coach. I'm trying to talk Travis into coaching me. It could happen, guys. Sounds like,
we got things in the works, people.
I got a good, I don't know, pitch, I guess. We'll see.
It's funny because that does lead to a couple other questions. Aaron Lerner tries plans for a partner. Can he scoop up Travis? Followed up by Kenwood. When does Try realize that Kame isn't the answer for him, but Travis might be? Oh, we got.
You did pick that question on purpose, right? Trav's.
These are my burner accounts.
Yeah, exactly. I believe you.
So it could be happening, but just in a different form.
Trav's hasn't quite got the mileage on the world tour, but hey, show me what you got. And like I said, I'm trying to bring him on the world tour.
Exactly.
So we're on the same page, people.
Matt Buffum kind of followed up. What are each of your goals for the off season? It's kind of similar. Like my off season looks pretty similar to yours. A lot of active stuff, just not volley.
Yeah. I'm not a volleyer. Like Kame already goes out, and I think he's with Theo, and like they have a little group, and they love just playing.
No jump tour.
Oh, so you do touch a volleyball?
It's literally on Volleyball Life, the John Mesco no jump tour.
Yeah, so you guys are on that. Like I'm a no volley guy, like real no volley.
Yeah, so I'll do that.
I'll play on the Daddy though, because I got to give back.
Daddy Hayne.
Yeah, the Daddy Hayne
That's
4-man.
That's a bucket lister for me. When is that?
Usually,
January.
I haven't heard, and it should be in like a week or two.
Okay.
Which
that's tough.
Maybe that's not happening.
Tough timeline.
I should probably touch base, but that I feel like that tournament kind of raised me a little bit, so I got to give back to those young players. Yeah,
but my lifting changes, which you guys will have heard a little bit from our previous podcast with Nathan Michaels, but I go real heavy again. And then I'll slowly start to go heavy and get strong, and then start to move medium weight faster with contrast sets. And then as the season goes, it's lighter and faster and lighter and faster.
Yeah.
And then I read a ton in the off season.
Some reason I just stopped reading, and it's been really hard. Although I was reading Gervais' book today.
Nice.
We got a little sneak peek.
Yeah, buddy.
I really want to get back into reading. I feel like I'm in a good mental state when I'm reading, but I broke the habit.
Dude, audiobooks, I think audiobooks are going to be my new thing on long flights and drives, because I did that. My drive to my elk hunt.
Podcasting is basically that. Like, you have people with like high knowledge.
Yeah. Saying it
in an entertaining way.
Oh, like your podcasting is like, because most of the time the podcasts are with authors who just wrote a book and are talking about it.
Right.
So you get that, you get the bites.
You get the nuggets.
Yeah, you get the nuggets. But man, dude, that Elon Musk audiobook, I didn't want to get out of the car. And the drive was 16 hours. I'd be at a rest. I'd be like, dude, I've got to keep listening to this. We're about to drive to Yosemite. So I told Delaney, I was like, we got to get an audiobook. Because that was great.
Yeah.
So a lot of reading for me and a lot of just moving heavy stuff. We'll do 2 more questions. My boy Tyler Kirsch, who taught me how to hunt. Which host is Travis bringing to his elk hunt next year? Can you do the cold?
What temperature? Does it have to be freezing cold?
So this year was, for an elk hunt, yes. Because this year was too warm, and it got down to 6.
It was too warm.
Yeah. Yeah, the elk was cold enough to come down the mountain.
I'm out. And I really want to go.
Have the San Diego girl. I'm sure.
Sorry, bro. I'm legitimately not. I'm wearing double wetsuits out here, and my feet are still going numb to the point where I have to go in because it's dangerous. Because I can't feel the board and I'm like slipping and like I just can't do that.
Sleeping can be tough. If you sleep through and you don't put another fire on, and don't put another log on the fire.
I like fire.
That's tough. And then
I love camping, but
stop walking, and you just have to sit in a spot for 2 or 3 hours, and your sweat starts to freeze.
I legitimately have for my autoimmune. I have Raynaud's. Like my hands are cold right now.
They turn purple.
Like this is bad blood
crazy
flow.
surfing with you.
It's like really gnarly.
Like legit purple.
My feet and hands are cold right now, and I'm not cold. So yeah, sorry, bud.
Yes, maybe Sav, or maybe it's just me and you again, Ty.
Well, let's go hunt something warm.
Spearfishing, Hawaii.
I'm in.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
I'll probably come
out. I'm
going.
I'm going tomorrow. And I do have buddies who can take us.
Sim Boogie
can take us.
Come on.
There's a few others as well. Yep.
Last question. Mr. Quintus, proudest moment, saddest moment, funniest moment of 2023.
Okay.
Doesn't have to be on the court. I think we're going to expand that on and off the court.
Proudest moment. Nothing's coming to mind, but when you're a parent, like volleyball just can't compare in terms of like proudness, like just seeing your kid grow up. Like for me, swimming, like she like finally like got the courage up to swim, and like she wants to do everything like on her own account. So I guess that, like my girl's swimming, and right before I take her back to Hawaii, so now she can really enjoy the ocean, not just like run around.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Also probably a new level of terrifying for a parent once your kid starts getting in the water.
Not for me.
That's good.
But yeah, you got to watch them for sure. Yeah, I don't know. You never know with nature, so I'll knock on wood.
Yeah.
You know, you can never turn your back on Mother Nature.
The proudest moments, nice. Swimming.
Proudest.
Saddest and funniest.
Saddest? I had a few sad ones, and it's like right when I lost, like, probably world champs, like losing that last match, like, that just happened. And I didn't know what the points stuff was, like, basically, like, not knowing, like, did I just throw away the whole Olympic thing? Like, I don't know. I don't pay attention to points because they don't matter. Like, go out and win. And then I was like, pretty sad.
Right.
Just like mind blown. And then what's the other one?
Funniest
Might have been the other night at the podcast I can't tell you about. Maybe soon we can, though.
Oh man, we're saving
we have it recorded.
That's
like
staying in the bank.
And it's BTS. Well, there's good stuff on the pod, and then there's good stuff BTS.
Yeah.
And it's filmed. So but we're kind of teasing you with it, but it's pretty good.
It got out of control.
It's pretty good.
Oh man. Yeah, so SANDCAST After Dark. That is probably also my funniest. Proudest, I mean, having a kid. But that I didn't do anything, so I'm more proud of Delaney.
Right.
For doing
You're proud.
No epidural. Like,
oof.
That 9.5-pound kid.
She's
like,
a hammer.
Badass. Yeah.
Oh.
So D definitely gets my proudest moment. Although I also don't want to leave out qualifying with JD.
Oh, yeah.
Because having a kid, that's a given.
Yeah.
You got to throw that out, right? Qualifying with JD, because I was telling you this when we were recording stuff with Wilson the other day, that me and JD played our first qualifier together, and we played our first open tournament together. We drove all the way down to Cocoa Beach overnight, got like 2 hours of sleep, barbecued, got a quick lunch at like Applebee's or whatever, drive like idiots. Yeah. You're awful. And then I go out here, end up qualifying a couple times. JD plays in every qualifier in the sun. He lived on a boat, like road dogged it with Christian Honer, and it was just like last round lose. And then we go to Virginia, and man, we get into that last round of the qualifier, and we're going to 3 with Jake Urti and Ian Satterfield, and I'm like, I have all the pressure on me. Or like I felt like it was on me because I'm like I want this for JD so bad. And he just like puts his arm around me. He's like, dude, Trey, I'm like, this is so fun. Yeah. Thanks for coming out and being with me. It was like the best friend thing to do.
Yeah.
We go out and win. And there's just nothing, like, you never want to be in a qualifier. You always want to be straight into the main draw.
Yeah.
But there's nothing in the sport
Like winning a
winning
qualifier.
a qualifier and qualifying, especially for your first one, and especially for JD, who had been trying for 9 years.
Yeah. And it's your
Or
boy.
7 or 8
And
years.
you get to come play it on your
Yeah.
home sand, like in front of your house.
Yeah. So we did that and then pretended to care about our next match, lost.
Yeah.
And then we come out here. And I think that I'm actually more proud of how we did in Hermosa than Virginia.
You played loose but serious and like all in. Not like that's something I think people don't. When I watch certain players, I see them being like, "Well, I don't want to be Mr. Serious. I'm supposed to enjoy this and have fun with my career." It's like, yeah, but the whole point is to like go through, ride the highs and lows. You're trying to avoid the lows,
Right.
and that's just not what sports is.
Right.
Like,
And that was actually kind of what happened in Hermosa. So we go to Hermosa, and we have no expectations from anyone. Every fan out there
For sure.
had to have been thinking we were going to lose 21-10, 21-10 in both matches. And so we do lose 21-10 to the Taylors.
uh-huh.
And JD is like, bro, what Taylor Crabb just did to me, no one has ever done. Like, he was here, then he was there, then he was going through an existential crisis. And so we're going the next day, and I'm like, all right, let's make this respectable against Dave and Rafu.
Yeah.
Then we beat Dave and Rafu.
Mm-hmm.
And so now it's like, mission is way more than accomplished.
Yeah.
We're getting a top 10. We just got JD a main draw win against a team that had taken a third in the last.
You could easily
match.
settle, be like,
Yeah.
play this last one out, we get to go drink, we win.
Yeah. And everyone's like, oh, Chase and Bill, like they were balling.
Yeah.
Like almost
They almost
should
beat
beat
us,
you guys and beat Phil and Avery.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's like, good job, like take some pictures, enjoy
Yeah.
the moment. And then we beat them.
Yep.
And it was that win. A bunch of people came up to me after and said that's the greatest win of your career. And it's easily one of the most memorable because it was just like no expectations. The crowd was awesome. They were playing awesome volleyball. JD was crying. Like, we had our wives were both there. Our kids were both there. My sister-in-law was there. It was just like the greatest, my favorite volleyball memory of all time.
Yeah.
Was that tournament.
Yeah.
So that's my proudest of 23.
Love it.
So on the heels of that, nothing sad.
Sorry, nothing sad.
All good things, baby.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing is like, you expect the sad moments. Like
Right.
the down. I almost feel like my saddest moment of being in that low and like, I mean, I put so much pressure on myself with what I did at the beginning of the year and the whole thing. But like how you handle that low is what your proudest moment is.
Right.
And eventually it pays off into being your best moment, usually. So they're all one and the same.
Right.
Happy, sad, and proud.
Think of how
You're
many
proud.
sad moments led up to JD's best moment.
Exactly.
And the reason that best was so high is because it was preceded by 8 years of low.
Don't dodge the lows because you're dodging your highs if you don't accept them.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, there we go.
That's a good one. That might be the 2023 quote of the year.
Let's go. I snuck in right at the end.
In.
Everyone else dropped theirs too early.
Yeah. Well, we are timing this almost perfectly at an hour. So try.
Love it.
Any final thoughts in 2023?
Man, it was a tough year, and it was awesome. It's like doing what I love to do. By the end of the year, it was like so hard, but by the end of the year, I was like, I went to Paris. I got to see new countries this year, which is rare for me. And because I was losing, like we always say, that means you get to see. I lost. I went in the Eiffel Tower. I ran through the Louvre a little bit.
Yeah.
Ate some French onion soup on the corner.
There you go.
Thailand, I experienced that and a few other things. And I'm going to look back on it as like, seeing those experiences, So, yeah, I mean, it's a good year.
Yeah.
A bad year's a good year because you get to use it.
That
You
reminds
got
me
fuel.
of one of my favorite sayings from Katie Spieler: keep your highs high and keep your lows high. You kept your lows pretty high. It was hard after
Yes.
French onion soup.
Yeah. I mean, I rode those lows. Trust me.
You rode them, yeah.
I went to
That's
the
important.
Louvre pissed off. I went to the... But, like, you know what pisses me off? Losing and then convincing myself I don't care and then getting over it before I'm ready to be over it.
Yeah.
Like, give me my whatever, however long it takes. And I'm not talking days. But give me my hour or two, whatever it takes. Let me internalize it, and then we move on.
Yeah. Right on. Love it. Well, enjoy Hawaii.
Thank you, brother.
I'll probably see you out there.
Come meet me. Let's go.
Let's go. I've been surfing out
get
here
in the
too
water.
long. I need to get in some warm water.
If I don't get you better waves, then you can cancel me as a friend.
All right, everyone. Merry Christmas. I think we'll have one more episode of this, so Happy New Year after that one. But have the best Christmas. Enjoy this 2023 season. Onward and upward we go.
Yeah, let's go, people. Shoots.